So welcome back to the second week of Vlogmas. If you're new here, I'm Joey, I'm a professional musician, and I also work as a wellbeing champion as well. So this week's been pretty crazy. We've had gigs all over the weekend. I've had 2 gigs with the function band that I play with, and I've also done a rehearsal for a musical. I couldn't actually film that because of the rules with filming around young people, but that has just been absolutely hectic. So I did capture as much as I possibly could for you, but it is a little bit limited. So one thing that really came through for me this week is actually about resilience, and that's something I'm going to actually talk about in this video a little bit. So this isn't going to be like the normal happy clappy Vlogmas. This is just going to be a bit of a talk about resilience and what that means for a musician and for someone that works in a professional setting. So I'm going to tell you about this first gig. We travelled to the gig via train. It was very wet, raining, cold, quite miserable, to be honest with you. So we packed all of the equipment into the train and off we went to the venue. The venue was absolutely beautiful. It was a massive marquee, really far away from absolutely everything. So it felt really quite remote. Really, really lovely place to play music. And what an amazing audience we had that night. They were absolutely amazing. Singing along, dancing the whole time. They really loved the band. And really had the Christmas spirit about them, so that was really good. A very, very supportive audience. We did have a funny 5 minutes with one of the ladies who got very drunk. Started being, I wouldn't say abusive, but just started kind of going for me. Not sure what the reason for that was, but she was telling me that I wasn't very good, shouting "your shit" and stuff like that. However, I'm not worried about that. I know that I'm not shit. So yeah, that was just her being quite drunk and just, finding some excitement, I guess. A couple of the band members came up to me at the end just to say, "Are you all right?" That sort of thing doesn't really stress me out. I know what it's like to get drunk. Some people can't handle it. That's her way of having a good night. I mean, it doesn't make it acceptable, but I'm also a professional, and I am aware of my own capabilities. Part of being a musician is about building resilience, and actually the second gig, which was over in Chippenham, that was a very different kettle of fish. The audience didn't really gel with this. It was a corporate event, so it's not always the easiest. When you're booked to play stuff like functions, you put all this time and effort into rehearsing and getting things perfect and as close to perfect as you can get them. You put a lot of hard work in, and performing it takes some balls. If you're not used to doing it, it takes a lot to put yourself up on the stage and in front of people to perform. And sometimes you're booked for a gig that you're not necessarily wanted at. We play with a live kit, so a live drum kit. That means that our music's quite loud. I wouldn't say obnoxiously loud, but for some people it is just a step too far, and some people just don't like it. So a lot of people come and dance, and they get interested and they get excited by the music. Sometimes you do have gigs that don't do that, and that's something that I want to talk about in regards to being a musician, is the resilience that you have to build up and how important resilience is. So one thing I would say is, when you play out to people like that, you're not going to necessarily be everybody's cup of tea. Not everyone's going to love the music you're playing. Not everyone's going to love the sound that you've got. That comes part and parcel of being a musician, because it's a form of art, and art is subjective. Some people like specific types of music, some people don't. So the most important thing is that you do your craft, but in the best way that you can do it. It's your own personal take on art. So you need to be confident in yourself to say, this is what I'm offering and this is what we've rehearsed. We don't ever change what we've done in rehearsal to try and fit an audience, because every audience is different. Some audiences love it, some audiences don't. And when you're out there performing on a stage, it can be very, very high pressure. You're getting people coming up to you and asking you questions whilst you're performing. We've actually recently done a new medley, which is the Abba medley. It sings music from Abba And it's very, very hard work to perform. It's for vocals, it's very high. It's just relentless. It goes on for about 8.5 minutes. And when you're performing something like that you've rehearsed and practiced and you're not as familiar with, that can be quite scary, especially if people are coming up and asking questions and all that kind of thing. So it's remembering what you've done in rehearsals, and you just have to regurgitate that when you hit the stage. You just have to be able to perform to the best of your ability. One of the most important parts for me was at the end of that gig, we all just went over to the change room once we'd finished, and we just sat and we talked, and we just debriefed. You know, we sat there and said, you know, is there something we could have done differently? Is there something that we could have changed? Was it a vibe thing? Was it to do with the people at the event? Was it to do with us? Did we miss the mark, or was the gig just not kind of designed in the way that we're used to performing? And what can we look at next time to try and avoid that kind of gig? Sometimes there's things that we can do, sometimes there's not. It was just great to sit with those people that you spend so much time with. They're such good people and good musicians. And to see them disappointed, and it hurts to see that. But at the same time, it was great from a community point of view that we could sit together and just talk about it, reassure each other, and praise each other, give each other the praise. It's a really strange feeling when you've rehearsed something, and I know that this band are good. I know the music quality is very good. So when you finish a song and there's maybe one person clapping, no one else responds, and it's like silence, it can be really strange. It can really throw you, but it's not necessarily a reflection on you. It's not necessarily a reflection on the band, because we've had gigs where we've played exactly the same set in exactly the same way, and people have been swinging from the rafters and loving it and screaming and throwing drinks and whatever else. You know, we've had those crazy gigs with exactly the same set. We just have to remind ourselves that actually we're doing a job. We're being paid to turn up and perform regardless of what the audience are like. And we can only respond to what we're given to. So we just continue to talk and continue to perform to that room of people that weren't interested in exactly the same way we would to a room full of people screaming and enjoying themselves. So I just thought it was really important to talk about resilience, because as a musician, you have to have resilience. Things don't always go your way. And that comes in every walk of life. You know, sometimes you'll come into work and you'll be hit with, this is wrong and this isn't right and this needs to change and I'm not happy with this. And you do just need to have a really thick skin. But it doesn't mean that you have to do that alone. And I would always try and recommend finding colleagues, friends, people that understand that scenario, to kind of just sit down and talk it through with and just debrief it. Because I think those harder gigs always make the good gigs even better. You know, you get those gigs where everything goes your way and the audience are like putty in your hands, and you know, anything you say they're screaming for, anything you do they're screaming for. You know, we do have those gigs, and they're more regular than the difficult gigs. But those difficult gigs are a building block. There's something that actually reminds us, okay, this is something we can work on, or this is something that we need to look at. It's been an absolutely crazy couple of days. I do hope you're enjoying these vlogs. If you haven't seen it already, I did a vlog about turning 30, and I've also done a vlog for my first Vlogmas, and that was last week. That involves Marge eating a pup cup, if that's something that really interests you. But I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. I'm looking forward to the next vlog, and I will see you in the next one. Please hit subscribe, like, and comment, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.